Up next, Shari Woodbury is the minister at First Unitarian Church of Omaha, a progressive post-Christian congregation in Midtown, a lifelong student of principled nonviolence and activist for racial justice and other causes. Reverend Woodbury is also a fierce mama bear, working for a future that serves all of our children. Shari's personal experiences with high-demand groups, aka cults, inform her analysis of this authoritarian dynamics in play in our country and how we can effectively resist. Everyone make it loud for Shari Woodbury. You shall not be my body that's planted by the one. We shall not be.
Hello, beautiful mosaic of Omahans. We can only be great together. I put that on this poster 10 years ago when the uprising began at the first Women's March. We can only be great together. And we can only be safe together.
I want to say thank you for being here.
I invite you, whenever I say we can only be great together, to answer we can only be safe together. So great, safe. Let's try that. We can only be great together. We can only be safe together. In the face of grave challenges to democracy and humanity, I turn to principled nonviolence, a la Gandhi and King. Satyagraha, the practice of nonviolence, literally means clinging to truth. The deepest truth I cling to is that every human being is fundamentally the same in our basic needs, in our intrinsic worth, in our belonging. That goes for all of every race, every gender identity, every religion or lack thereof, any immigration status, and any other characteristic that the fascists might try to use to separate us from each other. Because we can only be great together. We can only be safe together. The ICE assaults in Minneapolis showed just how powerful a movement is when it is organized from the grassroots, not top down, but bottom up. One of my Unitarian Universalist colleagues summed up what she learned at the clergy actions in the Twin Cities. The antidote to fascism is community, she said. Yes, active, organized community for mutual aid. Because we can only be great together. We can only be safe together. Now, some of us have been deeply hurt by religious groups or leaders. And that may be the very reason we now recognize cannibalizing leaders, cannibalizing movements when we see them, which is what the cult of MAGA is, which is what white Christian nationalism is. Now, Jesus clung to the truth, clung to love and solidarity with the least of these in the face of empire, whatever the cost. Christian nationalists, in contrast, are courting empire. They are clinging to the promise of power. So the dynamics of coercive control loom large. As a survivor of a high-demand group, I notice how the powers that be in our country behave like a cult leader or like a domestic abuser. They alienate our country from its friends and allies, making us more isolated in the world. Isolation is how it starts. They belittle and bully anyone who might threaten their hold on power. They create in-groups and out-groups. They say to white folks, "You have earned it. Your ancestors were hardworking pioneers." But these new immigrants, they are dangerous and undeserving. They hoard knowledge and power. They say, "Don't worry your pretty little head, citizens or Congress, about what we're doing in Venezuela or Iran. I'm a strong man. I'm the only one who can keep you safe." Yeah. They gaslight. They say the mainstream media is all fake news, and don't trust the evidence of your own eyes and ears either, they say, just believe what we tell you. They try to call the shots on sex and reproduction too, while they protect rapists and pedophiles. Every one of these patterns is cult-like. Christian nationalism is a fraud and a religious con. MAGA is a fraud and a political con. They say, look over here at our empty promises, and don't look over there at what we are taking away from everyone, or at least the 99%. What we must all do is hold on to our power, use our power, not think that it's over and give up. When the fight for democracy, the fight for all of us, is very much still on. It ain't over, folks. Remember, alone and scared is how they want us. Feeling powerful and focused on our own personal survival is how they want us. That's how authoritarians win. So whatever else you do, and there's lots of excellent things to do, I invite you to build relationships with your neighbors, to actively extend your networks of mutuality. And if you don't already have one, I hope you'll find a caring community. It could be a religious community or some other group with roots, a place to anchor you in your values, to renew your spirit with beloved community, and to sustain our shared work for the common good, because we're in it for the long haul, right? Friends, separateness is a lie. Community is the truth. Supremacy is a lie. Supremacy is a lie. Pluralism is the truth. Domination is a lie. Mutual flourishing is the truth. Let us cling to these truths, for we can only be great together. We can only be safe together.
The rebels.
All your confidence.
Give it over, Shari Woodbury.